When it comes to the storage of digital data, DNA molecules offer unique characteristics that can defeat the traditional storage methods, such as hard disk drives and solid-state drives. For more than 3.5 billion years, DNA molecules have been used by nature to store critical data needed to create many living creatures on the Earth. This molecule stores a huge amount of data in a very small three-dimensional space and is stable at room temperature. You can simply compare it with the traditional data storage methods that store the data in a two-dimensional space and usually need electricity to keep them at room temperature.
Let me explain more about the data density of DNA, meaning how compact the data would be stored on it. A human genome has about 3.2 billion base pairs. Each base is a building block of the DNA. Assuming each base pair corresponds to 2 bits of information, then the whole genome contains 800 megabytes of information that is stored in the nucleus of each cell with about 10 micrometer in diameter. This gives an information density of 1.5 megabytes per cubic micrometer. This is much higher than the recently achieved storage densities on hard disks that were only about 0.5 kilobytes per square micrometer, which is an impressive difference.
Let's see how you can actually store your data on a DNA molecule. The first step is to convert your binary data that contains zeros and ones to a sequence of bases that are building blocks of the DNA. These bases include adenine, cytosine, thymine, and guanine that each map to a binary representative. Several mapping methods exist. For example, let's say A gets 00, C gets 01, G gets 10, and finally T gets 11. Okay, I want to convert our channel's name, the methiones, to its DNA format. The binary form of the methiones is this, which then you can translate it to a string of bases.
With the sequence being available, the second step is to synthesize the molecule that contains the information. Usually, only one strand of DNA is made. This can be done using one of the commercial DNA synthesis approaches such as phosphoramidite oligonucleotide synthesis. Now that the physical DNA is made, it should be stored in a way that can last for a long time. I mean a very long time. For example, the DNA can be freeze-dried and kept in a capsule or immobilized on nanoparticles with an inert medium to last for tens to hundreds of thousands of years. The DNA can also be maintained in a living organism, such as bacteria, to last for such a long time.
Okay, a few centuries have passed and we are going to retrieve the data from the stored DNA. A common approach is to use one of the existing DNA sequencing technologies to read the DNA sequence. Even with the current sequencers, like the recent one from Illumina that reads 92 million bases per second or roughly 23 megabytes per second, it should only take 0.6 microseconds to retrieve the data related to the phrase the methiones with 52 bases. Impressive, huh? This means that in terms of reading the data from DNA molecules, we are in a good position.
Once the sequence is retrieved, the last step is to use the same bit-to-base algorithm to map the base sequence back to its binary string that can be translated into the human readable message, the methiones.
Currently, DNA data storage is quite far from being used for short-term usages, known as hot storage. This is mainly because the DNA synthesis process, the second step that we talked about, takes a long time and cannot compete with the data writing speeds of hard disk drives and solid-state drives. that are on the orders of megabytes per second. That's why DNA is only suitable for long-term data storage, known as glacial storage, where the stored data is going to be retrieved after decades or even hundreds to thousands of years. We will talk more about this exciting topic in the future videos, so stay tuned.